What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Corey, that TCG guy here. It's been a minute. It's been a little while since I got back from Ireland. Been a while since I posted a video here. I took a little time to just kind of get my bearings back once I got back from the honeymoon. The trip was incredible. I hope you all enjoyed the Crack a Pack in Ireland series. If you haven't seen that, you can just go look at the uploads. They're all shorts here on YouTube. Super fun to do that. But I appreciate everyone's patience as far as waiting for new content here on YouTube. I've been doing, the streaming still. That's still happening. But obviously, as you can see, last time we uploaded a video here was right before we left. So about a month ago, like an actual video was here. So I'm sorry, I'm back. Please don't hate me. Do you want me to buy you? Like, I can get you something? I feel like fucking Harry Osborn from Spider-Man. Well, like, you want me to buy you something? I want to buy you something. So we're back. We just wanted to do a quick video for you guys. We're going to do a little deck tech. Today we're going to be talking about Durnan of the Yawning Portal and Passionate Archaeologist. Yeah, sure, Double Masters came out, and we're going to talk about Double Masters in a way. But for now, let's do a deck tech of a set that's been out for like 2 months, since like June. But hey, let's get to it. All right, folks. So today we're talking about Durnan of the Yawning Portal and Passionate Archaeologist. These are the backup commanders to the Exile Precon commander from the most recent actual set, Commander Legends 2 Commander Legends 2 Dungeons and Dragons, Adventures in the Forgotten Realm, Battle for Magic the Gathering. Stupid. Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, Battle for Baldur's Gate 2, Commander Legends. I don't think that's right. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it came out from that set. So this is the backup commanders instead of the main face commander with Durnan the Yawning Portal. I think these two work really well together. I don't think you really need to mess with anything, though you can find some other variants here. But I think these two together are bread and butter, peanut butter and jelly, other things that go together.
Like tarantulas and me peeing my pants.
Durnan of the Yawning Portal, 3 and a green. Whenever Durnan attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may exile a creature card from among them. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may cast it. That spell has Undaunted. So meaning it costs 1 less for each opponent you have. And then it has Choose a Background, which the only background we'll be choosing is Passionate Archaeologist. 1 in a red for a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. If you know me, and you know my playstyle, I love dealing damage based on the mana values of cards. It's my favorite thing to do besides taking extra turns. So these two, again, I feel like go super well together. You're not going to really be doing much, changing of the backgrounds. Not that I could find, at least. So we're going to stick with these two, and we're going to talk some exile stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is just talk about a couple of creatures that, no matter what, are going to fit extremely well in this deck. So you could be doing it, however you want to, however you're going to build this deck. These are some of the creatures that you're almost always going to pull from, or always going to play. So the first one I want to talk about not only is going to help us with this exile, but it's going to also be a good payoff for that damage if we cast it from exile. So we have Apex Devastator. This is 8 green, so 10 mana CMC, or mana value, however you want to call it. For a creature, Chimera Hydra, it's a 10/10. It has Cascade. So when you Cascade, when you cast a spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card that costs less. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Put the exiled card on the bottom of your put the exiled cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. Multiple instances of Cascade, each trigger separately. So basically what this means is you cast Apex Devastator and then you're going to Cascade 4 separate times. So you have Cascade, you play a spell that's, you cascade into a spell that's 9 mana value or less. You're going to deal damage when that spell's cast. You're going to do it a second time. You're going to deal damage when that spell's cast. You're going to do it a third time, and you see what happens here. So Apex Devastator, if you got your hands on one of these guys, is you play it in this deck. Immediately, it's an auto include. I don't see why you wouldn't. All right, so this one here is a weird one because it's a flip card. I don't think I've ever played the front of this card in this deck, and you'll see why. Bergie, God of Storytelling, 2 in a red. She does some shit on the front. It never matters. You're never going to cast Bergie for Bergie. Flip it over. Harnfell, there it is. Horn of Bounty, 4 in a red for a legendary artifact. Discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. So this is just saying you have a dead card in your hand. Boom, discard it. You have 2 cards from exile that you can play this turn and then deal damage if you have your commander and the background out at the same time. It's awesome. It's really good. Yeah, sure, it's technically not a creature, but it is a creature, so there it is. Staying on that Cascade train, we have Bloodbraid Elf, 2 red and a green for a creature elf berserker, a 3/2 with haste and Cascade. So, you know, it's a good body. It's a decent mana value for damage if you cast it from exile, but then you're going to be able to cascade into something that is going to deal some damage as well. Not bad. Up next, we have Dream Pillager, 5 red for a creature dragon, a 4/4 with flying, and whenever Dream Pillager deals combat damage to a player, exile that many cards from the top of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among those exiled cards. It's getting you so much value. It's getting you so many options to cast from exile, and again, it's a solid mana value to deal damage out if you cast it from exile itself. So this comes in the precon. You can just keep it in there. Honestly, most of this deck, and you'll see from the deck list, which you can find in the description below, is mainly the precon. It is basically an upgraded precon, but you again, keep this in there. You're not going to want to take it out. All right, speaking of another card from the precon, I'm going to butcher the name of this. Nalfeshni? I don't know, but it's got one of the craziest pieces of art I've seen on a Magic card in a long time, and it is a 5 and a red for a creature beast demon, a 4/6. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, you copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. If it's a permanent spell, the copy gains haste, and at the beginning of the end step, you sacrifice this permanent. So this isn't really getting us anything from exile. This is more an exile enabler for our commander and the background. But again, this comes in the precon, and it's just something you're not going to want to take out of it. You're going to want to keep this in there. It is going to do work for you. Trust me. Don't move it. Keep it there. And look at its face. All right, another piece. Actually, the next 2 are coming straight out of the precon. Tillankali Hunter and Wild Mage Sorcerer. These, again, coming straight out of the precon. Tillankali Hunter. This is 5 green for a 7/7 with trample. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a creature spell you cast from exile, but it also has an adventure, so you can pay 1 and a green to exile this card after you cast it. Let me see. Exile target creature from your graveyard. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast that card. So you basically want to, play the adventure side and then immediately be able to play it your next turn or the same turn, so that way you can cast that exiled creature for free using its ability. Again, this is bonkers. If you have enough things in exile, which trust me, you can get a ton of things in exile, this is gonna wreck face. And then Wild Mage Sorcerer is a 3 and a red for a 4/3. The first spell you cast from exile each turn has Cascade. So with this out, you play some spells from exile. The first spell you cast is going to have Cascade, which can be monumental in this deck because there's a lot of high mana values. But also, you could Cascade into something that has Cascade. It just there's been turns that just Cascade into an adventure, into a Cascade. Like it can get crazy. All right, next up, we're going to talk some of the spells that are going to help us with this exile. Now, we're not going to talk about all of the ramp spells and the removal spells. Do with those as you please. You can find what works best for you. But these are some of the spells that have to do, again, with exiling things to deal damage. First off, we have Creative Technique. It's 4 and a red for a sorcery with Demonstrate, which is an ability from Strixhaven. It says, shuffle your library, then reveal cards from the top of it until you reveal a non-land card. Exile that card and put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So basically, if you demonstrate this, you give an opponent a copy of it. You can do it twice. This can win you games. It can be the difference between, someone living and someone dying. It really is a bonkers spell, and I highly recommend you slot this in. Next up, we have Escape the Wilds. This is from back in Throne of Eldraine, I believe is the set it first came out in, but this is also directly in the precon as well. So Escape the Wilds, 3 green red for a sorcery. Exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way till the end of your next turn. You may play an additional land this turn. So it's just giving you basically a second exile hand you have for 2 turns to just dump it out and deal a ton of damage with your commander if your background's out. This is an interesting one that I really like, though it really is dependent on your opponents, but Rousing Refrain, 3 red for a sorcery. You can add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Till the end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. You exile Rousing Refrain with 3 time counters on it. Or you can suspend 3 for 1 in a red. So this is that one part of Jessica's Will for mana, but it is constantly recurable. So every time you cast it, you exile it, and then in 3 turns you can cast it again from exile. So it's continuous damage, it's continuous mana value and mana generation, and you would cast Jessica's Will in a pinch for just the mana thing, I think. Jessica's Will is also in this deck for both sides of it. Obviously the exile side helps out a lot, but Rousing Refrain, an excellent spell. Strixhaven was a really good set that I would love to go back and revisit someday, so hopefully we go back to Strixhaven somewhat soon. Next up, we have a Volcanic Torrent, which is a sorcery for 4 and a red with Cascade. You guys are seeing a theme. And then Volcanic Torrent deals X damage to each creature and planeswalker your opponent's control, where X is the number of spells you cast this turn. No matter what, you're going to get 2 because you're going to get the Volcanic Torrent and whatever you cascade into from it. So this can be just a 2 damage to each creature and planeswalker, or if you're able to, finagle a few things out before this, you can easily turn this into a board wipe, which has happened more than once. So really, really good card. Moving on, we have Natural Reclamation, 4 and a green for an instant Cascade, and then destroy target artifact or enchantment. The Cascade part, again, we're not, you get it. You understand what's happening here. And then the value of destroying an artifact or enchantment is irreplaceable. And then a couple of artifacts that are going to help us out here. We have Chaos Wand and Wand of Wonders. I guess this deck really enjoys wands, but Chaos Wand is a 3 mana artifact with 4 in tap. Target opponent exiles cards on the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery. I may cast those cards without paying its mana cost, or I can cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then put the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of that library in a random order. And then we have Wand of Wonder. So for 3 and a red, you have an artifact with 4 in tap. So you roll a d20. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery, then shuffle the rest into their library. You may cast up to X instant or sorcery spells from among the exiled cards this way without paying their mana cost. And then, what you roll on the d20 depends on how many spells you can cast. Nat 20 here gets you all 3, a 10 or 19. 10 through 19 gets you 2 of them. 1 through 9 gets you 1 of them. No matter what, it's an excellent card that's going to get you a ton of value, but also allow you to cast things from exile from your opponent's turns. From your opponent's decks. Not turns. Jesus. Okay, we're going to talk enchantments that do the exile stuff for us. Now, I'm going to tell you 2 of them. We're not going to go over them, but I'm going to tell you 2 that I have in this deck that if you're playing on spell table specifically, I don't recommend playing these because they can become a huge pain in the butt to try to figure out who has what spells are you taking, what spells are you playing, what are you not playing. It's a pain. So Stolen Strategy and Share the Spoils. Share the Spoils isn't so bad, but Stolen Strategy is it's a really good card in this deck. If you're playing in paper or you're just playing with a play group at home or friends or whatever, I highly recommend Stolen Strategy. If you're playing on a stream or if you're playing over spell table with people you don't know or people you're not as comfortable playing with, I maybe would keep out Stolen Strategy unless you're a monster. So I say that because Stolen Strategy, you're basically every one of your upkeeps, everyone's exiling the top card of their library, and you can play that card. You can play those cards, and it just gets really messy. It gets really cumbersome, and it's not fun. And I wouldn't recommend doing it in those applications. Again, playing in person, playing in paper, go nuts. It's a great card, and it's going to do wonders in this deck. Share the Spoils, a little less messy. You can still play other people's cards, but I don't know. I played it last night, and I found that Share the Spoils wasn't as much of a nuisance as Stolen Strategy is. but again, use your own judgment. It's really up to you. If you really want to play these cards, no one's going to stop you, but just be aware of the way that you're playing. You know, it may be easier to keep these guys out and slot 2 other things in. Who knows? But all right, the ones I do want to talk about, there's only 3 of them here. We have Arcane Bombardment, Outpost Siege, and Valakut Exploration. Arcane Bombardment here reads, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard, then copy each card exile with Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana costs. What? That's crazy. That's insane. The instants and sorceries we have on here are insane, and this card is bonkers. Why would you not play this? It makes no sense to me. Then we have Outpost Siege. This is a Khans of Tarkir special. This one actually may be from Dragons of Tarkir, maybe Fate Reforged. I don't remember, but it's a great enchantment, and you see a lot in Commander. As Outpost Siege enters the battlefield, choose Khans or Dragons. Khans, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. Till the end of turn, you may play that card. Doesn't really matter about dragons. We're never saying dragons. It's always Khans. Being able to exile the top card of our library in our upkeep just gives us 1 extra card. And then damage. And lastly, Valakut Exploration. This has a landfall trigger for 2 in red. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. And then beginning of my end step, if there are cards exiled with Valakut Exploration, put them onto their owner's graveyard. And then Valakut Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. So the good thing with this, you have cards you can play from exile to deal damage, or if you just have like a dead land or whatever, and you don't cast it, say you had 2 cards in there for whatever reason, you don't cast either of them, you're getting 2 damage to each opponent, which is still damage. So pretty good. So that's basically the gist of the deck. That's kind of the direction you want to take here. I guess we can talk about a couple. We don't even have to talk about it. I can just kind of list off a couple of payoffs for any of the exile effects that you're casting from exile with your commander and the background out. We have things like Craterhoof Behemoth. We have Emrakul, the Promised End. We have things like Galta, Primal Hunger. Yes, Atali, Primal Storm is in this deck, obviously. We already talked about it, but we have Apex Devastator in here. So, there's a ton of cards that are going to deal some big damage when we cast them from exile. You can check out the entire list in the description down below. So if you want to see exactly what I'm running in here, you can go check that out yourself. But what's fun about this is there's a lot in the precon that work really well with this deck. So if this is a strategy that you're really interested in, I would recommend picking up the Exile, whatever it's called, from Exile or Exile Excitement Commander deck, the precon from the Commander Legends 2 set, and just mess around with some of the pieces in there. I think this is like 40% upgraded from the base precon. There's a ton of solid pieces just in that deck alone that stayed into this build. So it's really, really fun in that sense, where it's an easy to build deck, and you don't have to put, you don't have to go crazy with combos or anything like that. It just naturally works well with itself. And yeah, with the stuff that we slotted in here, a lot of things from Streets of New Capenna, I would definitely recommend checking out the list below to get a gauge of the way I took it, and maybe you want to go in that same route. So yeah, that's basically it here, folks. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna swap back to the face cam, and then we'll send y'all on your merry way. Thank you. All right, guys. Hey, like whistle, like whoop. I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I said, it's been a while, so great to be back. You can expect to see a lot more coming out of this channel over the next couple of weeks. Like I said, needed to take a little bit of time to kind of just reacclimate myself to the world after coming back from Ireland, which if you've never been, you should really go. It's an incredible country filled with amazing people and amazing sights to see. So do that if you have the means to. Yeah, just go to Ireland. Just go. Anyway, for those of you who signed up for Patreon in July, the stickers are on their way. The stickers are on the way to me, and then I will send them out. The sleeves are going to be a little time. It's going to take Dragon Shield a little time to put those together, but I have everything ordered, so I will keep everyone in the loop for when you're going to get your stickers and your sleeves. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, back in July, I had a deal. If you signed up for my Patreon at the $5 tier, you got a free pack of Dragon Shield 100 count sleeves with the sticker tier sticker as like the artwork on it. So it wasn't art I didn't love at first, but then grew to love it over time. But if you're interested, you can still sign up for the August sticker tier on Patreon, which is $5, and you can get the August sticker design, which is this one right here. Here it is. I'm not doing the sleeves for this one. The sleeves was exclusive for July. I may do that again in the future, but if you stick around, you're going to get a new sticker from me each month that you stay subscribed at that tier. Great. And then, as always, thank you so much to the affiliates we have, Pinfinity. If you enjoy awesome, high-quality pins with augmented reality built into them in a way that blows my mind, just make sure you click on my affiliate link. I'll put it in the description notes below. You get 20% off your entire order or your first subscription. Or you can check out my other affiliate with Wormwood Gaming. You can use my affiliate code, ThatTCGguy, at checkout for free domestic shipping anywhere in the U.S. So take a look at that. But all right, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.